Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PowettPlay Podcast. Myself, John, and Shannon, as always, I'm joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
Not too bad, John. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Week 7, so the last round of fixtures of the West Indies Championship, and it's the team of the week. It's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. So you've gone opening the batting. You've gone with John Campbell, which is third century of the season.
Yep. As you said, third century of the season, second inning century. I think the pitch was a pretty good one. But still, given the position that Jamaica were in,
Yeah,
especially after being bowled out so cheaply in the first innings and putting up a score that could have potentially been a bit tricky. I think if they had gotten some, let's say anywhere between 200, 250,
yeah,
then it's been a completely different ball game psychologically on that pitch. But I think just for the fact that he was able to give them a chance as well, making a second inning century, and this is his third century of the season. That was very good.
yeah. Oh, they must have been disappointed with the result, Jamaica, but obviously a great win for you guys.
Yeah, indeed. I think that, as I said, the first inning score pretty much left them on the back burners, and I think that Jaden Edmond put down a spell that was very, very impressive, for a young guy playing in, I think what was his second first class match to get a 5 wicket haul before lunch on the first day. Very, very impressive. He was very skillful with the ball. I've seen him in practice as well, so I knew that he had a bit of skill about him. But to be able to come out and execute like that against obviously experienced players was very impressive. So very happy for him.
Yeah, definitely. And then opening the batting with him, you've gone with Raymond Perez, which just seemed a bit of a there were no real standouts worthy, to be honest with you, from an opening perspective. Although when I looked at it anyway.
Yeah, that's been my struggle this week as well. A lot of the openers sort of didn't get many big scores. But I mean, Raymond Perez obviously got
Yeah,
80 plus in the first innings and 20 odd not out to, I guess, stop any potential slide and help Guyana seal their third championship in a row. So no, Raymond Perez is the second opener of this week.
yeah. And another one from your game, Shakir Paris with 112 and an 85 not out as well.
Yep, very, very talented young man. I think he could potentially be this generation's Kyle Hooper transition into Marlon Samuels transitioning into Shakir Paris. I think that he's extremely talented. I think that he's someone that should be in and around the academy.
Yeah,
Obviously, only 21 years old, but I think that he needs to be in sort of that formal structure that can, improve his skill set, give him obviously a bit more structure in terms of how things operate on
yeah,
a higher level. So I think that, as opposed to being in a franchise system, I'd love him to be within a West Indies system because of his age and get maybe even if it's just 1 year of being in the academy, I think that would be greatly beneficial for him.
yeah. And with your involvement in the game and being around him to come out with what you mentioned there about likening him to Kyle Hooper and Marlon Samuels is a big compliment for him and setting up the game as he did in the first innings and then ultimately going and winning the game in the second was a really mature performance of someone of his age.
Yeah, 100%. I've been asking him all season. Are you going to let me die without seeing you make a first class century? So I'm just happy that he got it for himself. He's someone that is still very reserved, very quiet, but very passionate about his game, and he's a hard worker as well. And I think that the end he had towards the season, I think scoring two half centuries, a century, and then an 80 odd was pretty impressive. So
Yeah.
very happy for him.
Yeah. And then in number 4, returning after his start to the season was Jason Mohammed.
Yep. Don't think I need to say much on that. Obviously his form had slipped away through the middle part of the season, where he got a lot of low scores. Obviously you changed from the Kookaburra ball to the Duke's ball, but ending the season being the leading run scorer by quite some distance,
Yeah.
as well as scoring his fourth century, which again was the most by any individual batter. I
Yeah.
think it's a no-brainer that he got selected into this team.
Yeah, definitely. And then at number 5, you've got Justin Greaves with his 124 not out.
Yep. For someone that's only played 4 games in the season, getting two centuries and a half century, very, very impressive season from Justin. I think that, he's someone that's obviously been freshly in and around the test team, scored a century just I think 3 matches ago, obviously the entire team had a disappointing tour of Pakistan, but he did exactly what we asked of people coming back from Pakistan. Go and stamp your authority. And for someone that only played 4 games, obviously because he had some personal matters that it's not for me to divulge. I think that very pleased, very happy for him, and happy to see that he's continued to put runs on the board from since the last Super 50 tournament that he's played in, and he's just continued in the international format and now into the first class season. So very very happy with his returns.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing I picked up on as well, it was a gritty innings facing 261 balls. It shows that resilience and something that, looking ahead in terms of from a West Indies standpoint, that's what you want in that middle order, that grittiness, someone to grind it out and dig in. And I thought that was a really good, it was a brilliant century. And as you mentioned, he's kept his form going, but the fact he did grind it out and show that resilience was a big takeaway for me.
100%.
And then at number 6, you've got Jamal Hamilton with another half century.
Yep. I think he's the only batter that's scored the volume of runs that he's scored without scoring a century. And I think that, as we mentioned quite earlier on in the piece, when we started doing these teams of the weeks, this is something that has, I guess, sort of caused him to miss out on selections for a few teams of the week. But when you look at his performance over the course of the season, getting 573 runs. I think he's probably tied number 3 or number 4 on the overall run scorers list for the season. You definitely have to reward that type of performance and consistency.
I was going to say that the consistency throughout, yeah, definitely. And then number 7, you've got another Gloveman. You've got Joshua De Silva with his 77.
Indeed, again, someone that's finished extremely high on the run scoring list, and again, another person that went to Pakistan. Obviously, he was dropped in Pakistan, so he didn't feature, and he would have wanted to restake a claim to get a position within the West Indies team. So I think that he's done quite well. I think there was a few chances in the last 2 rounds for him to potentially score centuries where he got an 86 and a 77. So I know
Yeah.
he'd be personally disappointed with that because, again, people realize and recognize centuries. But having said that, he did score 3 centuries for the season and pretty consistent throughout in the 6 matches that he played. So deserving of his selection.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. And then at number 8, you've got Larry Edward with a 3 for 6 and a 5 for 86 as well.
Did we miss number 7?
Joshua De Silva at 7.
Okay. Larry Edwards, yep. Very, very good game. He's someone that I would have expected to be playing for the Windward Islands, but for whatever reason, he was unselected. And you look at his performances in this match, 8 wickets across the game
Yeah.
and a 44, which was very crucial going in as a night watchman, an enterprising 44 because sent in as a night watchman and decided to try and play as many shots as possible and then came back the next day and tried to block for as long as possible. So I think I
Wrong.
think
The other
definitely
way around.
yeah, he definitely got the job confused. I'm not sure he understood what his role was supposed to be. But nevertheless, he managed to contribute with both bat and ball, and he's an exceptional fielder as well. So
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, I could have gone for a Jamal Warrican who had gotten a 7 wicket haul as well. But I think that Larry's overall contribution to the game, obviously with bat and ball, was sort of, I guess, more deserving.
Yeah, no, I understand. Especially you mentioned there about that key 44. It shows the value that the tail or the bowlers can add as well, really. So at number 9, you're going Johan Lane is 6 for 30.
Yep, someone that I think is developing into a very good young medium fast bowler. Very skillful. I think that his height, his ability to move the ball, and his consistency plays to his strength. I think that he seems to be a bowler that is a thinking bowler as well. Like he's figuring out how to work out batters and how to get batters out.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good season all around. I think some 24 or 23 wickets that he got this season. So very pleased for him. His second 4 wicket haul of the season as well, and very deserving of his selection.
Yeah, definitely. Again, he ripped out 3 of the top 4 as well, which is a big thing as well when you talk about from that opening bowling perspective. At number 10, you've gone with Raymond Simmons with his 6 for 27 as well, he had.
Yep. And I think obviously the first thing we think about with him is his variety,
Yeah.
his variation being a left arm seamer. But getting a 6 wicket haul in St Kitts on what is a pretty flat wicket, and especially after the Leeward Islands had gotten such a big first innings score, and
Yeah.
Barbados managed to claw their way back into the game off of the backs of performances from different contributors throughout, but obviously mainly Matthew Ford scoring a first class century. I think that what Raymond Simmons was able to do in going and ripping through the top and middle order of the Leeward Islands and bowling them out for 90 something gave Barbados the opportunity to get back into the game. And obviously, they came towards the end and won the game, and that sort of catapulted them up to second position in the tournament. So, very, very big performance from him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to see how he develops. That left arm option is something that's it can be in international cricket it's sought after. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in this breakout league as well. I think it's going to be a big, that's what you want to see. That's what I know we previously mentioned about some of the names that are playing in this breakout, but he's someone who you look forward to, seeing how he goes with a real key role within that side. And then number 11, another one from your game, Jaden Edmund with 5 for 59.
Yeah, as I said briefly earlier, his performance and getting a 5 wicket haul before the first day's lunch is absolutely amazing. The lengths that he bowled, the lines that he bowled a good pace, good consistency. Strings the ball away, seams it back in, has a variation, has a bouncer as well. So, and has a very very reliable guy at first slip. So no,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
happy for
yeah. You milked that one. To be fair, I don't know. No, it was some catch that it really was. It was some catch, but no, I was so impressed with how he bowled.
him.
One of the things we were watching um, was it looked like the angle wasn't great, but the way he was bowling, I thought he was presenting that seam so prominently, and you could tell he was causing the batters trouble. And when you go and do that in a first day of the game, and you really set that game up for you to go and win, and I thought it was a really really impressive performance. Yeah, and it's handy that you've got a man like yourself at first slip anyway. The,
Indeed.
the, the one in the second inning was a little bit easier off the spinner anyway.
Well, we'll take them all. Doesn't matter how they come.
Correct. Correct. Um, when we're speaking there about Raymond Simmons, you mentioned about Matthew Ford. Can I ask you why he doesn't feature in this 11 with that maiden century?
Um, Ultimately, for me, his job is as a bowling all-rounder.
Right, okay, fair.
Very, very happy with his performances over the season, especially the last two games where he scored a match-winning half century
Yeah,
against the Windward Islands and then went on to score a match-winning century against the Leeward Islands. I think that he averaged over 40 with the bat this season. So he has shown that he doesn't just have batting ability, but he can contribute and make big scores.
yeah,
I think obviously playing red ball cricket is something that's new for him. So fitness is something that he's going to probably work on in terms of having the stamina and ability to go
yeah,
for longer periods at a higher sustained pace. But obviously his skill level is there, and so I think it's just a matter of getting fitter and being able to contribute more with the ball. I'm not saying that he didn't have a good season with the ball as well, but I just think that he could be a bit more effective if he becomes a bit fitter.
yeah,
But his batting definitely shows that there's the making of a very good all-round cricketer in there, and something that the West Indies could use
yeah.
in the future once he continues to develop his skill.
Yeah, definitely. I think the positive, again, I know I mentioned it in week 6, was some of the ages with these players that are featuring in this team of the week. It's a really good potential down the line, and it's exciting. And I think one thing we were discussing over these 7 weeks is, some of the names in the future. You're speaking so highly there, Shakir Paris. It's something that you want to keep an eye on. You want to see that player development. 'Cause it's exciting for somebody to go and influence games of cricket as they are doing at the age they are. You mentioned there Johan Lane and Raymond Simmons. It is very positive.
Indeed, no, very very much excited and happy with some of the talent that's been identified, and it's just how they nurtured and groomed now.
Yeah. I think that, when we broke everything down over these 7 weeks, I think it's been really, really good to get your insights. You're involved, you're playing, but you're also involved in that circuit of people speaking and understanding the difficulties of playing at times on some of the Caribbean wickets. I think to go through that over a week by week basis has been really, really insightful for everyone. So, Karen, I just want to say I really appreciate that information and speaking so openly about these 11s. And I think it's been really good to do.
No, indeed, definitely enjoyed it.
No, perfect. Well, I will speak to you soon, no doubt. And we are going to review a team of the championship for the full season, which will be interesting to do that. And I'm looking forward to getting your feedback on that. So thank you very much, everyone. I'll speak to you all soon.